folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book things here. Today's video is going to be my monthly wrap up for the month of June. I know it's obviously a little bit later into July, but June was a really exciting month, also busy. Also the beginning of July has been interesting and also busy as well. The beginning of June obviously was dedicated to BookCon. I didn't really get my reading started until like about the first week or so into the month, and I read a lot of things that were arcs, a lot of things from BookCon this month as well. So as usual, I'm going to start with my stats. I like keeping track of these. I think it's just fun for me, fun for you guys maybe. I don't know, let me know. So this month I read 12 books. That's 2,793 pages. Divided by 30 is 93.1 pages a day. I did read a lot more graphic novels this month, which is more than I've read all year. I think I read more this month than I even read last year. So for my star ratings, I had 0, 1, or 2 star books, which is a pretty good month. I had 3 stars, 5 4 stars, 4 5 stars, and then that makes my overall month a 4.08 in terms of overall rating, which is one of the highest months so far. I did really like a lot of the things that I did read. A lot of the books that I read were shorter this month too, so it just worked well with my schedule right now because I'm working full-time with like a very like weird schedule, so my time to actually read is limited. So yeah, I did read a lot of different genres. I have just a little note here. So I had a graphic novel, a historical fiction, non-fiction, thriller, fantasy, graphic novel, contemporary, romance, magical realism, and contemporary. So for me, that's a lot of stuff sort of all over the place. Typically, my reading is a lot of contemporary and a lot of thrillers, but you know, throwing in all those graphic novels, an actual romance book, a non-fiction, like this was kind of a really interesting month where I did just grab whatever I like really wanted to read. And then I do keep track of my years, so because of BookCon, I ended up reading 7 2018 releases. A lot of those are arcs, so stuff's coming out a little bit later. My oldest book was 2004 because I did not get around to reading any Stephen King this month. That's the only thing that I really missed reading, going to my next King to read. So I'm definitely going to be getting my hands back into working my way chronologically through his work. Trying to get back on that Stephen King Sunday train. And then I do keep track of my female-male authors. I read 7 female, 5 male. So yeah, I'm gonna get into the books that I've read, tell you guys a little bit about them, and my star rating. The first one that I rated 3 star is Open Earth. This is a graphic novel about a polyamorous like space scenario going on. I really like this. The main reason why I gave it a 3 though is because I wanted more, and I wanted more plot, and I want to see where this is going. Typically with graphic novels, the very first one, I'm not that interested, and I mainly want to continue reading it because of the art style. This is one of those. I really like the art style. I like the characters a lot. There's a plus size main character. I do like the polyamorous part of it as well. I think that's like really, I just opened it up to like some sex. Oh yeah, there's a lot of sex in this, and some yeah, anyway, yeah, there's a lot of sex. This is one that me, Chelsea, and Julie, I think, have all read this month. Picked that up as a free arc at BookCon. Next is another arc that I grabbed from BookCon, one that was probably my most disappointing book so far this year. Maybe. One of them, that is Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. This is the art copy. Mine has been destroyed. I definitely read this in the tub, and this was not a copy like made for that and made to last. So this comes out in October, and this one I believe is more like a fantasy book. There was definitely more magical realism fantasy elements in it than I personally prefer. I went into this expecting it to be very atmospheric, similar to The Wicked Deep, similar to maybe, what was it, Undead Girl Gang, in like the way that the like witchiness and whatever was described. It ended up just being a little bit confusing. I did buddy read this with a couple of people, and I'm not gonna lie, reading about 100 pages of this a day kind of made my brain hurt, and I did not know what was going on or care about the characters until about 300 pages in, which is, in my opinion, too much book for me to have to read before I get even slightly invested. One thing I really did enjoy was the asexuality representation. I feel like it was done very well. It was done in a way that was kind to all the characters involved. No one was really left feeling any sort of like negative emotions about the discussion of asexuality, which was really nice. I feel like a lot of the times it's discussed as my partner doesn't want this and da-da-da-da, but this one was, I don't know, nicely described. But in terms of the actual plot, it's just that girls have gone missing from this island, and these three girls are sort of coming together, figuring out why that is, and there's some sort of like other force coming to eat them, maybe. I'm not gonna lie, I read this and it was a blur. I might revisit this, maybe. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like I just didn't really understand it as much. It just kind of confused me in parts, and like I said, I just wasn't very invested in the characters. I'm also not doing a good job at describing this. I gave it a 3 because I was mostly confused when I read it. So the next 3-star read for me was this very, very tiny, almost like little baby edition of volume 1 of a graphic novel. This is The Weatherman, and again, this was like a free thing that we picked up at BookCon. I really did enjoy like the art style. This is my kind of like art style, bright, different colors, unique characters, that kind of thing. This was very, very short. This is only like, I think like 20 pages or whatnot, but it gave me enough to want to know, again, what is going on in the future. There's also a scene in this that was very disturbing and very upsetting to me and to everyone that has read this. And I like more mature graphic novels, and I feel like this one is interesting enough to keep me wanting to read it. So that's really all I can say about this because it's like 20 pages long. And moving into 4-star books, the first one that I read and enjoyed was Snot Girl by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. This is the edition that I got them to sign when I was at BookCon. This one definitely follows up really nicely to the first one, where I was intrigued by it, didn't really have any answers as to what was going on. This one gives me a little bit more answers, introduces you know, a couple new characters, and sort of again leaves you confused and wanting more. I just loved it, really everything about the art style and Lottie, and like I love how in the back they include sort of like reasons for her outfits, because Lottie is like a fashion blogger, and it's just, the artwork, man, is just so amazing. This makes me want to dye my hair green like again immediately. Yeah, this one I can't really say too much about because it sort of follows up where we left off in the first one, but I liked it. If you like the art style of this book, like definitely pick it up because it is a lot of fun. The next 4-star book, a little tiny one. This is Dear Israeli, or a Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. It's a little tiny booklet that was given away at BookCon, and I read it. I really enjoyed it. However, I feel like there's a lot of things about feminism in this that I already knew. I feel like this would just be really good for anyone who's having like a baby girl or someone who's like a new mother, which is not really me. I really did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 just because I feel like it wasn't targeted towards me, if that makes any sense. The next 4 is kind of a surprise to me because I didn't expect that I would like this as much as I did. That is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I've read some previous Ruth Ware books and I felt like they were too cinematic, but then there was no real like good plot or writing, or like the characters were stupid. This has a little bit of that. This is basically about a woman who goes on this like luxury cruise ship kind of thing. It's a little tiny ship, not really a cruise. Goes on this like little luxury ship as part of her work, and she sees this woman and is convinced that this woman disappeared while on this boat. That actually really interests me because I am terrified of cruise ships. I can't swim, I'm scared of water. I know all about like the number of people who have gone missing from cruise ships. Google it if you are interested in that conspiracy. So yeah, I definitely found this very interesting and page turning. It does have a little bit of like typical Ruth Ware in that the main character does have these like really stupid decisions. I feel like she kind of writes her characters as like non-intelligent people when it comes to decision making. I found that this was interesting enough and there was enough there that kept me interested that like I think I read this whole book in like a day. Just like in the tub I read the whole thing. So I enjoyed it. It kept me entertained. Still not like a perfect 5-star book to me, but like very, very entertaining, so I gave it a 4. Next one that I read is From Twinkle with Love by Sandra Manon. I met her in line at Starbucks. She's beautiful. So I had to like immediately come home from BookCon and finish reading this. I'd actually started this right before we left for BookCon, and then blah 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 blah. So this is the same author who did When Dimple Met Rishi, and I liked that book a lot. I found it was really cute. This follows Twinkle, and she is the filmmaker, or is very interested in filmmaking. Very similar in the way that Dimple was into coding and that kind of thing. So she's into filmmaking, and she like meets a boy, and it's cute, and there's problems with her parents and whatever. It's, I don't know, I feel like it was just like a really good contemporary, but like I just liked so much about her writing, and it's nice and easy to read and enjoyable. I feel like this book and When Dimple Met Rishi are pretty much like formulaic. Like it feels kind of like a little bit like you just kind of took, okay, this is a different character, different interest, same sort of scenario, and let it play out. I think it's because I've been reading a lot of like YA contemporary books. This felt very similar to some other things, although I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty cute. So getting into heavier shit that I read this month, I finished We Need to Talk About Kevin. Yeah, so this is definitely heavy. This is a mother's letters to her husband about their son Kevin after he is a school shooter. But I'm not going to get into spoilers, but as you're reading this book, your brain sort of connects the dots into what you expect Kevin has done and the kind of kid and person that Kevin is. And as the book continues, it kind of warps into something else, which I was surprised by. I had actually spoiled myself on sort of the ending of this and the ways in which that Kevin committed his crimes, because I accidentally looked up the movie of this, and I went, oh, okay, that's not what I was expecting. It definitely deals with like the struggles of, you know, not really wanting a kid, having a kid, not connecting with that kid. The kid, Kevin, is an asshole. Like, this fucking little kid should have been put away or dealt with in some fucking way before he reached like his teens, because this kid is psycho. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely found this like very interesting, although hard to read at times, because it follows so many of those tough subjects that people don't really like talking about, like, do I regret my child? Why am I not bonding with my child? Is it okay for me to like truly fear and hate my child? Very, very interesting topics. So if you're looking for some darker shit and you haven't read it yet, I do suggest it because it was intense. And then I had forgot that I also read this month Save the Date by Morgan Matson. This is a cute little signed edition that I picked up at BookCon. This is like my 4th Morgan Matson. I think I still have to read The Unexpected Everything. But this one though, I really, really enjoyed. It wasn't perfect to me. It didn't really get me the same way as a couple of her other 5-star books have. This follows a teenage girl, Charlie Grant, and she's coming into town for her sister's wedding. All of their siblings are coming to like their family house, and they're like all just sort of like family drama and like siblings poking fun at each other and all the things that like happen around planning a wedding. Just all the little things that go wrong, and then their parents are dealing with some stuff. I don't know, listen, here's the thing. This was such a lovely look at like a close-knit family group that like this is a book that makes me wish I had siblings. And I think that if you come from a family where you have 4 other siblings, or like a really like close-knit family where you have those like inside jokes with each other, you would really like this. Because I'm an only child and I got some of it, but I didn't necessarily relate to all of the closeness of family. But I loved it. It was fucking cute. In typical Morgan Matson fashion, there's like, you know, the main storyline and a bunch of cute shit happening, and then some like random stuff happening here and there. Like I just love her writing a lot. I just do. And this was a 4-star book, and definitely a fun summer one if you are interested. So I really, really enjoyed this. Also, there is a dog. It's cute. The dog is cute. So the first 5-star book I read is this little tiny guy. This is Wenjack by Joseph Boyden. This is intense. For a little tiny book. I cried. This book is so hard to talk about because I cried. This follows a boy who was taken from his parents and put in like a residential school in Canada, and he escapes that school, and it follows his journey through the forest as he's comforted by different animals, and different animals and spirits look down on him throughout this journey. Yeah, for a little book, bawled my face off, cried. It's based off of a true story, and it's depressing. It's rough to listen to because it's a part of Canada that's not pretty and not enjoyable, and it's part of the history of Canada that is not great. It's hard to read about, and yeah, this little tiny book just shook me to my core, if you will. I gave it a 5. I do recommend it. If you see it anywhere, pick it up. It's worth a read, and it's beautifully written and impactful. So next is the 5-star graphic novel that I read this month. That is Saga Volume 1. I think, like I said, I'm the last person to pick this up and read it. No one told me though that this is weird. That Saga is weird. There's so many different characters and like species, I don't fucking know. In this, the art is bizarre. There's some sex, there's some like violence, there's like everything I could want in this, basically. I've never wanted to immediately go out and buy 7 volumes of a graphic novel, more than I just did when I finished this. So yeah, I'm gonna be coming into a gift card for chapters soon, and I'm just gonna go buy, I think, the next 2 of these because this is wonderful, and I need to know what happened. And like the art is just the coolest. Like who dat, you know? I don't know, there's some other weird shit in here. There's like a big cat guy. Listen, no one told me this was weird. If you guys would have been like, this is the weird book with weird characters, I would have been like, okay, and I would have read it like forever ago. So if you know of any other graphic novels that are weird and have weird characters, let me know. So the next 5-star book was one that I was so excited about, and just so excited to read. That is Neverworld Wake by Marissa Pessel. This is a magical realism, magical realism book that deals with time loops. I love stuff like that. That is the kind of stuff that I am interested in, like wormholes, other dimensions, just in my like regular life. I'm interested in that. Reading that in book format, especially in a YA genre written by an author whose work I already enjoy. This book just felt like a treat to me. Yeah, I freaking loved it. It basically follows this group of friends, and something happens. I basically can't say too much about this without any sort of spoilers. It follows a group of friends who end up in this time loop that they're trying to get out of, and ooh, it's good, okay? So if you're interested in like a little bit more like spooky vibes, a little bit of like mystery, a little bit of like people repeating the same day, Groundhog Day kind of stuff, them trying to get out of the Groundhog Day kind of stuff, pick this up, read it. If you read Night Film and you enjoyed it, hi. If you read Night Filmed and you enjoyed it, pick this book up because it was so good! Jeff is here now. Hi. Hey, are you coming back? What is you doing? And then the last 5-star book that I read of the month was one that is probably my new favorite romance book that I've ever read. That is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. Chelsea told me about this. Chelsea pretty much made me go buy it, and I read it, and oh my god. It is sexy. It is good. Yeah. So the main character in this is Stella Lane, who is this like self-made woman who like is making her own money, very like confident in what she does at work. She happens to be autistic, and she is having some sort of issues with being comfortable around sex and her own sexuality. So the best way that she is able to deal with that is she hires a male escort, which is Michael. Him, and Michael comes to basically like help her discover her sexuality in the sexiest way possible, and he's a great character, and you know, it's a romance, so you can assume things continue from there. But very similar to The Hating Game, there's like you know, the narrative of the romance and the sexy time, but there's also different layers to it, like Michael's past, Stella's past, what happens when they come together, and things that they have to work through, and blah 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 blah. I just love this. I just love this. Very sexy, very horny reading this. And so yeah, if you're looking for a romance that is like a contemporary romance, very sexy, this one, it was good. But yeah, those are the 13 books that I read in the month of June. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these, if you like them. I don't know, talk to me. I realize that my videos have been a little sporadic, so thank you for sticking around. It's just I am working full-time and it's the summer, so my days off I've been outside and doing stuff. So my time to film has been a little off, so I'll be getting this video up a little bit late, but thank you for watching. Yeah, I do hope everyone is doing good, and until my next one, I will talk to all you soon. Bye!